Do not descend, fly it down the runway, fly it down the runway, RV over the runway, fly it down the runway, add power, fly it down the runway, fly it down the runway, bonanzas, put it on the ground, bonanzas, put it down, RVs, fly it, RV, I need you to fly it down the runway, fly it down the runway, RV, add power, fly it down the runway, RV, okay, space is good, you can put it down, sir, appreciate the help. RV, you can put it down, appreciate the help. If you need to roll to the end, that'll be fine.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Mojo Grip. While I'm still here, I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time, but I haven't gotten a chance to. But if you've ever wondered why there are accidents that happens in Oshkosh, today I'm going to tell you the reason why. So if you've been following me, you know that this past July, I actually flew my plane, this very plane, to Oshkosh for the very first time, and it was one of the most exciting but also nerve-wracking moments of my life, and I'll tell you why. So when you're going to Oshkosh, generally speaking, you have NOTAMs and just things that you need to learn about the trip, because you have thousands of aircraft flying in same time as you, so they have a procedure that everyone must follow. So I did all of that, and I honestly thought that the worst part of the trip, or the part that I need to pay attention to most, would be when we're close, once we get into the procedures, and because you have literally hundreds of other airplanes flying around you and next to you. So I'm thinking, man, traffic would be crazy, and so that part I thought I would be nervous. But truth be told, on the day of, nothing. It was very non-eventful, partly because everybody paid attention and followed the rules, so it was very safe. I've never been so close to so many airplanes, but I can see everything visually, and everyone flew safe for the most part. But here's the kicker, and here's why accidents happen at Oshkosh every year. One thing you should understand is whenever you're coming into land, and they have several runways at Oshkosh, but whenever you're coming into land, depending on the runway that you're allocated, then you might do a different procedure to come in. Generally speaking, if you have runway XYZ, you talk into the towers, they would direct you on your base turn, your final turn, all that good stuff. But also, they have you land on these dots. So you have the yellow dot, blue dot, whatever the case may be. And also, if you have a different runway, the only procedure in is to do a short final, meaning military style, basically curve. You're not turning base, you're curving that airplane in with in some cases, steep turns. And one thing is, if you're a pilot and you haven't practiced that procedure, okay, guess what? You're winging it at that point. And I'll be honest, I try to do as many practice before I went to Oshkosh, but I know in my mind that if we were given a runway where we had to do like a teardrop or like a short final type of procedure, then I'm just gonna have to do it. What I notice is that oftentimes you have pilots who have not practiced certain procedures, and then they go to Oshkosh and boom, they try to do something like that and an accident happens. But that's not really what causes the crashes that happens at Oshkosh. So I'll use my situation as an example. I remember coming in, we got instructions from tower, we followed all the rules all the way to turning base and final, and I was given the instruction to land on the yellow dot. So I am literally, and this is one of the reasons why I also cut out that video, but I might even show it to you while I'm talking about this. So here's the yellow line, and I'm right here, and I'm coming towards it. Just a few, I don't know how far off the runway I am, but maybe less than 100 feet. And the moment I was close to landing on that freaking thing, the tower starts yelling at me and says, no, keep flying to the end of the runway.
Fly it down the runway.
I'm flying. Relax.
Put it on the ground.
Just focus, man.
Bonanzas, put it down.
Right.
Put it down.
So here?
RV,
Yeah,
fly it. RV, I need you to fly it down the runway. Fly it down the runway.
Keep on flying.
RV, add power. Fly it down the runway.
Watch your airspeed. Watch your airspeed.
RV, okay, space is good. You can put it down. So
All right, put it down. Alright.
So I don't know about you, but generally speaking, as a VFR pilot, right, whenever you see your runway, one, you already know what you're doing, and when you've made the runway, at least what I do, I normally cut my power out and I'm just getting ready to just let that thing mesh down and drop. And in this case, I knew that I needed to land on a specific spot. But in the last moment of wanting to just touch down on my yellow spot, I get a different instruction. And the reason being that there was a Bonanza, a much faster airplane, right behind me. And then now Tower wanted me to fly all the way to the end of the runway. And it wasn't just them saying, hey, do this, it was yelled. So in that moment, I would not lie, I got all flustered a little bit, and that split second can cause a crash. And more than likely it did, because on the day of and the next day when I was at Oshkosh, there were at least 2 or 3 crashes that happened. And guess where all of them happened? On the runway. So generally, when you hear or read about a crash happening at Oshkosh or EA AirVenture, I want you to pay attention as to the location. Where did this crash happen? And 9 out of 10 times, it's gonna be on the runway. And having experienced that situation myself, I've come to the conclusion that this is likely what's happening to a lot of pilots, where they would get one instruction and maybe last minute or a few seconds before touchdown, they get another instruction. That's simply something that most of us were not used to. And the rhetoric of fly the plane first came back for me that day. So for anyone, if you are planning a trip to Oshkosh, or you plan on flying, you need to understand this fact is that you're flying that airplane until literally your wheels touch down, and your landing instructions can be changed on you last second or last minute. So I want you to pay attention to that. Now, I could be wrong, but I want you to leave in the comments below. I'm wondering what your experience has been, but this was my first time flying to Oshkosh, and this is what I saw happen. It happened to me. It happened to me where they changed the instruction on me last second. And I imagine for those airplanes that crash land on the runway, that's likely the same thing that happened to them. Now, all of that said, I do think that the crew at Oshkosh, or whoever's helping put together the program for EAA AirVenture, I think part of the procedures or the things that they send out for every pilot to study before they come, I think it would help if they also include that, hey, you probably should practice XYZ procedure, meaning practice that, landing on a dot, or also practice your short finals, practice your landings. This may sound simple enough, but I think that it can help eliminate some of these crash landings that happen at Oshkosh. Because I imagine a lot of pilots who fly normally or haven't practiced what I call military style flying, they just get to the runway and they think, okay, I'm here, I'm just gonna put the plane down. No, one, you have to practice or land with a certain procedure, and at that point you're winging it if you haven't actually practiced that procedure. So I do think that it will help if pilots are being advised to practice more of these procedures. And also, as a pilot, obviously you're pilot in command, you should probably practice these things yourself. And I'm letting you know, as somebody who went there, is that you want to practice your landings, practice actually being able to land on a particular spot on the runway, and then just practice doing pattern work in general. The part, like I said, that I thought would be hectic or would cause a lot of challenge, and I assume some pilots did too, it actually was a breeze. The part where you're coming into the show, although there's a lot of airplanes around you, as long as everybody follows the rules, it's fine. You're safe for the most part, and you're just basically paying attention on the radio. When you hear your number called, they will let you know. They'll tell you to rock your wings, and as long as you're paying attention to that, you should be fine. But the part that's more critical is when you get to that runway and you're about to put the airplane down. You need to be careful on that, and you probably need to refresh on some of the basic skills on landing. Anyway, that's my spiel. I don't know if anyone have experienced something different, but I would like to know your thoughts and what you think. Anyway, leave in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if this is your first time. And guys, also follow me on my personal channel, Mike Ojo, and follow Mojo Grip on Facebook. Just search it, Mojo Grip on Facebook. I really appreciate all the support. Consider becoming a patron, or you can become a paid member here on YouTube. I really appreciate it, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.